Tonight on Police College, the recruits get behind the wheel for the first time. Some have to learn north from south.
Well, I thought it'd be quite easy, but my map reading's not that great.
For others, it's about knowing the difference between the brake and the accelerator.
I think I scared the pants of my instructor at one point.
And others have a few bad habits to correct.
Yeah, one of them was driving with one hand up on the side of the door, one hand on the wheel, which is pretty bad.
Over halfway through the course, the recruits of Wing 226 have so far been focused on basic theory and self-defence. And now they must get behind the wheel of a patrol car, which will require them to master the basics of defensive driving.
Okay. Oops, sorry.
But for recruit Tim, it will be like riding a bike for the first time.
The latest model car I've ever driven is a 1986 Bongo van, so...
Ex-courier Carol will have to overcome some bad driving habits.
Pulling out in front of people, double parking, the whole lot.
But for local boy Mike, it's a dream come true.
I own a Holden Commodore, so I'm used to driving the big cars. I've always had big cars.
Over the next 2 weeks, the recruits must achieve silver licence status.
If you don't achieve silver, you don't graduate. The task of driving a police vehicle can be demanding and it can be stressful. You are going to have to make precise decisions, safe decisions, quickly and efficiently.
First, the recruits must effectively resit their driving tests, as they're asked to demonstrate their skills behind the wheel under the watchful eye of their instructors.
The purpose of the day one is for us to see what we're dealing with and also for them to be introduced to the vehicle.
And it's a vehicle specially equipped for police work, a driver's dream come true. Which is why there's fierce competition over who drives first.
You when you drive.
And going first definitely has its advantages.
Can't wait to touch the lights.
Now what we call this is an assessment drive. So obviously if you do anything wrong and I tell you about it, don't take it personally.
First to be assessed is Mike. He's wanted to get behind the wheel of this vehicle since age 7.
We had a presentation from a police officer and he gave us these little cutouts of a police car. He told us to colour it in and cut it out, and ever since then I've had this dream of becoming a police officer.
So whereabouts are you from?
From Wellington.
Oh, there we go. So we're heading into town, so that's all I need to say, isn't it? We can, know exactly where we're going.
It's very stressful for them because they're put in a position where they're sitting next to not only a driving instructor, but in their eyes, a police constable.
What about his hands? Do you think his hands are fine on the steering wheel? Would that be about right? Getting better? Yeah. And what did you used to do for a living?
Chef.
I thought you were going to tell me you were a Formula One racer or something.
Either that or Mike might be colourblind when it comes to traffic lights.
Carry on, obviously, with those amber lights. If we can do safely, we would stop.
So next up is Tim, and it's not long before his lack of confidence is picked up by the instructor.
This is it. I can't muck around roundabout. You need to commit yourself and go for it. Go. Oh, lovely. That's the one.
That was probably my worst drive because I had the instructor beside me and it just adds a lot of pressure. He's watching every move you make and he's got a clipboard there and he's ticking off boxes in it.
Though for the most part the boxes are being crossed, not ticked, due to Tim's various bad habits.
Yeah, one of them was driving with one hand up on the side of the door, one hand on the wheel, which is pretty bad.
And like Tim, Carol Skoltok is also feeling nervous.
Is your seat height all right?
I'd like to be a little bit higher. Shall I stop on the yellow lines and do it? It's like a full-time driving test. So, when you first set your driver's licence, sitting there really scared, a little bit like that to start with.
Though in this case, Carol can't even operate the seat.
You tip that back, 1 to 2 together. So just work your way out. No, you work it up, yeah.
And with that drama sorted, now she must face another, Wellington traffic.
I threw us straight in a car and we drove into town, and that's Wellington, and that's a little different from Nelson.
We're going to have to get ahead of this bus probably while you go, and it's all right, and we'll go over to the left-hand lane. But up here we're going to have to move over to the right-hand lane again here. So just pretend you're out doing a delivery run, and I'll see if I can find some faults.
Things that slip by normally that you don't even think about, didn't indicate, oh, never mind. It's picked up straight away.
With plenty of bad habits to break, over the next few days the recruits must relearn how to drive, almost from scratch. So they move to a purpose-built driving course where the bad habits are drummed out of them.
We introduce a systematic approach to their driving, and it's everything from positioning to where to slow down, how to brake, and cornering.
The recruits await their turn to get behind the wheel, and again there's competition for who goes first.
We were both a little bit nervous to start with, and nobody wanted to jump in the driving seat.
You go first.
All right. I normally drive a truck, a diesel manual truck, so it was the exact opposite. There was a lot of adrenaline there. I think I scared the pants of my instructor at one point.
I've never driven a car that fast before. Flying around that track, oh, it feels great.
But different from my Bongo van anyway, I can tell you that. They had paddle gearing, which I wasn't used to. I went into one corner a bit fast, got the gears all wrong, just about spun off. They gave me a lot of stick for that. But
They will struggle with it to start off with, but all of a sudden it just drops. And when the penny does drop, you can just see a smile come on their face, and they have started to figure it out.
And with that, stage 1 of their silver licence status is complete. Coming up, the recruits must tackle the worst of what New Zealand's roads have to offer.
Take your foot off the brake. It's called a skid car because it's supposed to skid.